This is Adrian Saville. I'm Chief Strategist with Citadel Asset Management. The 2017 government budget that will be presented in Parliament will be read against a backdrop of weak economic growth. The slow growth has translated into equally slow government revenue, and the feeble revenue collection raises the risk of the budget deficit that was anticipated this time last year being overshot. But in the same breath, expenditure has also been slow, if anything, well managed. And as things stand, if we extrapolate the slow revenue, slow spending combination, we land up with a budget deficit that looks to be around 3.2% for the 2016-2017 government budget. And that's better than the 3.4 figure that was tabled at the medium-term budget policy statement and indeed February 2016. Although a deficit of 3% is unsustainable in the current growth environment, it seems fair to expect an improved economic growth performance in 2017, perhaps growth of between 1 and 2% versus 2016's 0%, and falling price inflation. And so that headline news translates into a better setting for government revenue and government spending in 2017. But at the headline level, that's where the good news ends for taxpayers. In the 2016 budget in February of last year, Treasury announced tax proposals amounting to just under 50 billion extra revenue collection over the medium term. And although the expenditure ceiling has been cut back and spending has been well contained, the sluggish growth environment and social welfare pressures point to the need for additional funding. On this front, a 1% increase in VAT could raise government revenue by as much as 22 billion, and this would go a long way in plugging that deficit. But this avenue is unlikely to enjoy popular support, and the more likely path is Praveen Gordhan will raise marginal tax rates. Even so, it's worth bearing in mind that a 5% increase in the top marginal tax rate on individuals would raise not much more than 10 billion. And so this points to the need then to look beyond marginal tax rates. And it's possible that Treasury could resort to outright budget austerity. If anything, this would be an unfortunate outcome, not just for marginal taxpayers, but for the broader South African economy and society. Because the real issue with the South African budget is not the size of the deficit, the extent of austerity, it's the extent to which we are effective in our spending. And to this end, what I will be hoping to hear from our Minister of Finance is more about concerted efforts to rein in state-owned enterprise spending, hold the boards of these enterprises accountable, and at the same time establish mechanisms to improve the effectiveness of key parts of our spending program, especially education and healthcare.